Hello, this is Marketia. I'm here with the take-home RPI lab demo where we wanted to do interrupts with the Raspberry Pi Pico. I got my OBS set up here. I'm going to try to do a little bit nicer of a recording. Now that I have audio working, I can talk as I haven't talked to my other videos. But yeah, so let's get into it. I did this a little bit differently. I changed up the lab. I didn't want to do the software. I have my own actual board, so I wanted to get that going here. I can talk about the code a little bit. Let me switch that over. Yeah, so here's the code. Pretty much what I did was I wanted to build on the research project we did as like a kind of test lab with the blink LED. So I took the class blink LED that I submitted for that, basically copy pasted the code here into VS Code, and then just kind of wanted to make some slight changes to it to implement the interrupt. So my plan was how we were assigned to do an interrupt with a button press and then just have it print whatever it used. I was going to do that with a blinking LED. So I was going to blink the LED and then try to get the button press, and then when the button presses, I will have it output. We stopped blinking the LED at whatever falling edge or rising edge. So pretty much same thing here. Simple class. This is all the same. This is the blinking. In the main function, all I really added was the functionality for the button to work. So this is going to be used for the interrupt, and then we initiate that button, set its direction, it's an input, and then this is the money function right here where we enable the interrupt. The interrupt should be coming from GPIO button pin, which is pin 14. It should happen on either edge, fall or rise. We want it to be true, and it's going to take us, that's with callback, is going to take us to that other function, in which is right here, take us to the handle interrupt function. So I tried to make it so that it would keep blinking after the interrupt. With this loop, that part didn't entirely work, but I did get the interrupt, and I'll demonstrate that right now. So when the button is pressed, essentially in the main function, takes us here, and this essentially just reads if it was a falling edge or a rising edge with the event, print out whether if it was a rising edge or a falling edge. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for the code. It was pretty simple. Most of it was written for the last assignment. I just kind of added on to it. Yeah, so I'll switch over here to back to the camera, and I'll show you the setup. So let me grab this here. I did have to do it a little weird. Please ignore my terrible setup. I was limited on USBs, so I actually had to write the code, upload it to the Pi, and then run the Pi on a separate computer than I'm recording with, because I have to use external microphone and camera to work on Mac OS or on Linux through the Mac here. So this is actually running on my Windows PC, and I'm going to show you the PuTTY output right here as the serial console. So you see it's running right now. The LED is blinking. I'm not sure if you can, yeah, you can tell that that's blinking. I have a 1K resistor there between the LED and pin 15, and then I'm using that wire, this spare wire here, as the button. So it's blinking, and I'm going to stop it by pressing the button as an interrupt. You see it stopped, and then I can take you to the PuTTY output where it's showing stopped on whichever edge that it was on within the clock cycle. So we see all of those messages with one press because we do not have button debouncing, which I didn't implement. We weren't told to implement, so we see that the interrupt constantly worked, and that's a good example of interrupt functionality. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video demo. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, bye bye.